Hey guys, Dean here, and in today's video we're going to be walking through 8 different tips that teenagers can take on in order to later become millionaires. Let's jump into some of these 8 different tips which I think people can manage their money better when they're teenagers and set themselves up and future-proof themselves to make some great wealth later in their life, either in the early 20s or in the 30s. So the first one is live below your means. So I think this is quite self-explanatory, right? But if not, let's explain this. So it's really important to live your life. Don't listen to everyone who says you need to penny pinch too much, save literal pennies, and then not do anything with your life. That's not really the right mindset we want to look at here. In fact, the mindset we want to take on is we want to live below our means so we can live comfortably, but we still want to have an enjoyable life or everyday ritual that's actually still enjoyable for us, right? We don't want to drain all of the joy out of life. You just don't want to spend or borrow money that you don't have. This is pretty important, right? Don't create debt for yourself or burn through all of the money that you have that comes in, because then you won't have anything for the later steps we're going to run through in the video. Try to spend a small percentage of what you earn or acquire. This is pretty important, and then you've got some left over to put into useful assets or spend to actually invest in yourself. And I think that's one of the most important investments that we can actually make in life. Now, like I said before, that doesn't mean live extremely frugally. That just means spend a lesser amount and spend the amount which you save on investing or smart investments. Now, you don't need to invest much when you're young, but it's an important thing to actually create those early habits, right? Which we'll move on to in one of the later steps of the video. So you're protecting your future here and not causing unnecessary collateral or financial damage to yourself. And that's what we want to do. We don't want to be borrowing money early in our teens, and we also don't want to be squandering and wasting money on those things that most of us wanted to buy as teenagers, right? It's a normal habit, but we want to get ahead. So we want to create different habits to what other people are usually doing. And I think that's important here if you want to try and get ahead. Now, the next one is consider using a credit card. Now, this might be slightly risky to most teenagers who have no clue what they're doing with it. And of course, like we said before, most people waste money. So it's important that you listen very carefully on this step, right? Credit cards have really great payment protection. So if you want refunds or if you have a problem with a transaction, you'll usually most likely get a refund or assistance rather than you would with a debit card, for an example. And it allows you to build up your credit score, which is why most people use them, right? Because otherwise, why would they borrow money randomly unless they want to get into debt? So using credit cards correctly is key here, though. This is a really important takeaway from this point, because most teenagers probably can't be trusted with credit cards, okay? And that's probably why most of your parents say don't get one. So borrowing very tiny amounts, and I'd recommend very tiny amounts as a teenager, and then always paying them back in full every single month, so you don't have to pay the additional interest which builds up from not paying back borrowed money on a credit card, will mean that you can slowly build up your credit score early, which is an advantage which you're giving yourself, okay? One recommendation for me is put something monthly recurring, like a payment such as Netflix or a Spotify subscription, something which you can actually genuinely afford every single month, and put that on your card, or just buy snacks or small items and make sure to consistently pay it off and make sure you have the habit of being able to. So that's a really important thing, and that means that credit cards can be powerful if used correctly. If used incorrectly, you and your parents will have to pay back a lot of money. So make sure that you have your parents supporting you or monitoring you if you are using one, and you're not making stupid decisions with it. That's really important. Now, the next point is just generally how much you need to put away for investing, right? So this depends on either your pocket money or your income, which is actually coming in each month. However you make money, if you're a teenager and you have some kind of part-time job or some kind of thing that you mow lawns or clean cars, anything to get money, or the pocket money your parents give you, for an example, this is all the same thing. Whatever income you have, whether it's a few dollars, whether it's a few $100s, this is going to be where you can start learning those habits, which are going to be key for later in life. So even if you don't have much money, invest in $10, $20 a week or every month creates those saving habits which are going to be useful for the future when you start making the serious money, because we might not be saving a lot of money right now, but you're reinforcing those saving habits, so when you have good money you don't squander it and it starts to compound, because you'll keep investing later, right? And we're going to go into that a little bit later. So try to invest 10 to 20% of the money that you're given or that you have spare. Now, usually I would recommend in your 20s have the rule of investing 20%, but you could go as low as 10% when you're a teenager, because saving or investing anything still puts you ahead of the curve, right? So it's just a good thing to consistently do and teach yourself to be able to do. And then the next one is set it and forget it. So this is when you're investing, okay? So a lot of people, they want to waste the money, they want to spend it on ridiculous things, or they have a problem with not touching it. So set it and forget it. You could ask your parents to create some kind of savings account for you and make sure that they only have access to that account if you're one of the people that find not spending money extremely difficult, because if you're going to dip into that account and spend it, you're just going to waste the potential on that saved money, right? So keeping money away, setting and forgetting it, pretending it's not even spending money or money that you can even use, or putting it in an account that's a protected one is going to mean that you've got this protected nest egg of money in a few years' time that will slowly snowball and build, even if there's not really much in there right now. Never be disheartened because you've saved a really small amount, because saving anything can be beneficial, and that can be your start into investing that little small snowballing amount of cash, right? So that's important. Next up is create an investment account. If you can create an investment account early in your personal name, or have your parent or guardian actually create one and support an account with you, this can be really cool. And by an account, I mean a brokerage account, okay? A brokerage account, specifically an ISA account or an IRA, if that's possible in America. And I'd recommend using the app FreeTrade, okay? I have a link in the description of this video. If you sign up and top up your account, it will give me a free stock and it will give you a free stock. So it's an affiliate link and it's mutually beneficial. So just so you've got that in mind, I'd recommend putting your money into an ISA account to buy stocks to invest with, which will give you a return on your savings. Because if you're putting your money in a normal savings account for a bank, it's going to sit in that account, and even if it's a savings account with a small percentage, it's going to be less than 1%, and it's just going to be killed by inflation, okay? What you want to do is you want to put it in an ISA account where you get an 8 to 10% return, and then that money will compound over time, okay, annually. So if you want to learn how to do that, I do have a video on how to invest in stocks and index funds and how to get started. It completely explains the theory and the process, and if you want to learn about that, I'll link that in the description right below, and I'd really recommend checking that out. The next tip is the best time is to start right now, okay? Because yesterday was the best time to start. Today is the next best. Don't leave it until tomorrow to start some kind of passion. That's really important. So weeks, months, and years pass by. We have time, but the longer you leave it, the later you'll be in life when you finally get to actually enjoy it without limitations or restrictions. So that's a really important thing to dial into your head when you're a teenager, okay? Because that's a really good piece of life advice and mindset that will ride you through the waves. So as you become a young adult, it will really hit you how important money is. And when you go through periods of being broke, which I have been through multiple times, there will be a big stress on you that you don't want to last forever. So it's really important. During your teenage years, there's very low risk. If you're living with your parents, you basically have free housing, if they don't charge you money, of course, if you're young, and you have the time and the big safety net of not having to pay for where you live to start any business and save money in the easiest way possible. So don't neglect that golden opportunity, because it really is a golden opportunity. If I would have started my YouTube later in life, I wouldn't have been able to take as much risk, and that channel is nearly 100,000 subscribers now. If I started that when I had a job, I wouldn't have the time allocation to put into YouTube as much, and I wouldn't have the risk-free time and free housing that I could have whilst actually developing it, okay? So start things early. That's really important. The next thing is to increase your income earning power, because remember, saving pennies, like we said before, isn't really going to get you anywhere, because investments are great for compounding and growing your existing money and snowballing it, but they won't actually make you rich, okay? Unless you're in that 1% that gets super lucky off some random crypto coin that goes to the moon, which is probably less likely right now during the crash, then you're not going to make money off just investing $50 a month, right? It's unrealistic. It's just going to grow your money. You're going to be rich by the time you're 65, but the goal here is to enjoy our life while we're young and hopefully get rich in our 20s or 30s. So increasing your income earning power and the potential of the money you can earn from your job or your main business or side hustles is extremely important, okay? Because the more money we bring in, the more we can invest, the bigger that investment's going to be, and it's just going to keep snowballing. Think about your core strengths and your talents. What are your interests, and how can you actually turn those interests into some kind of business, or offer it as a service, or solve some kind of problem in exchange for money? Because most things in life is going to be, whether it's selling a product that solves a problem, whether you're providing a service that solves a problem, you're going to solve a problem or provide some kind of value in exchange for money. That's basically how the trade of money works in the modern day. So always keep that in mind. And I have a video on the best home businesses to start with little money and side hustles that you can start from your bedroom to earn some extra cash. If you have no ideas on what businesses to start, I'd begin with those videos, because some of them may be of your interest. Starting something early is very important. Like I made with the YouTube example, where my main YouTube channel is nearly 100k. I started that when I was quite young in my teens, okay? I think I didn't actually take it seriously though until I was about 20, and now I'm 24. So 20 to 21 is when I really started to take it seriously. But it took about 2 to 3 years to actually get off the ground and grow. Okay, so the earlier you start, the earlier in life you'll get to actually enjoy it when the fruits of your labor labor come off. Now, I missed out on a lot of experiences when I was a teenager. I didn't go out partying or drinking with my friends. I just kept on grinding videos, but I've been able to have some of those experiences in my early 20s whilst I'm still young, but after I've actually had a little bit of success. So I missed out on some of the early years, but I've still been able to actually enjoy my life while I was young. And because I made those sacrifices, I've actually got some kind of income coming in now. So that's really important, okay? And I've been able to travel freely for many months and actually enjoy life. But obviously, I'm still not at the finishing line, so it's really important to always keep your head in the game. So putting your head down and working will put you ahead of all your peers most of the time, and it will make sure that you can hopefully later in life get rich and enjoy your life in your younger years, which is what I'm trying to dial in into you, because that's one of the most important things you can start doing whilst you're a teenager before you're actually an adult. And then the last tip for this video, which I'm going to share with you, is scaling up your investing percentage. So what do I mean by this? So as your income actually increases and the amount of money you start making increases, scale up your percentage set aside for investing monthly accordingly with your new income. So perhaps taper from the 10%, which I told you before, to the recommended 20%, or if you start to make very healthy amounts, consider scaling up to 30 or 35%, maximizing the return that you will get off the hard income that you receive. So just consider that, okay? Because the earlier you invest, the more you invest, the greater the amount of money you'll get in multiple years. So let's say you got 10% return on some money. Let's say a millionaire invested $4 million into their investment account and got 10% every year, whether it's off crypto, whether it's off stocks and shares, which is obviously a safer investment. They would be getting an extra $400,000 per year just from the interest, okay, from their investment being set in there, okay? So that's a lot of money. So investing, especially if you have a lot of money like those people, can make you a lot of passive money that you can actually live off most of the time. So that's really interesting. So that's something to definitely look into. So that's the 8 tips on how teenagers can set themselves up to become millionaires, manage their money wisely, and not make a lot of the key mistakes, which most of us naturally do when we're younger. If this video was interesting, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe for more business and finance videos and some travel in there too. And I'll catch you next time.